Welcome back. Little mathematicians, have you ever been 10-pin bowling? If you haven't, it's something for you to look forward to in the future because it's a lot of fun. The aim of 10-pin bowling is to roll a heavy bowling ball down a laneway and knock some pins over at the end. You're trying to knock down as many pins as you can. Well, we're going to use the idea of 10-pin bowling today to help us with our mathematics work. We're going to look at the word subtraction. We're subtracting as mathematicians. Subtraction is a fancy word for separating. We're going to separate an amount. The way that we do this is by taking a part away or removing some of it. So we start with an amount, but in the end we'll have a smaller amount because we're going to separate it and take some away. In 10-pin bowling, we're trying to knock some pins over to end up with a smaller number standing, and we're going to use that today to help us subtract. I'm going to show you an activity that you can do to start practicing the skill of subtracting. Using a worksheet that looks like this today or some drawings into your workbook, you're going to record what happens when you go 10-pin bowling. But how can we go 10-pin bowling if we don't have a 10-pin bowling alley at our house? Well, that's what I'm going to show you. You probably have some simple things around your house that you can use to replicate 10-pin bowling today. Let's take a look how I can go 10-pin bowling, and then it's going to be your turn to do this too. We're working with the number 10 to go 10-pin bowling. Take a look. To set up your game of 10-pin bowling today, here are some ideas of some of the things you could use to create 10 pins and knock them over using some sort of ball or round object. You might have some craft items like these craft tubes, and if you have 10 of those, you could use these. They stand up and they can be knocked over using a tennis ball or maybe another soft ball that you have. You could use some little figurines that you might have. So any sort of figurine that stands up, if you have 10 of those, you could use those. You could use some paper cups because they stand up, and for this you'd need a bigger space. So you could use outdoors, and you might be able to use a tennis ball to knock these over. But another idea, and what I'm going to use today, is I've built some towers using connecting cubes or maths cubes. You might call them Unifix cubes. You could also use Duplo or Lego bricks. I have 10 of these little towers. In each tower, there are 3 bricks. Let's make sure I have 10 because a clever mathematician checks before they begin. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So these are going to be my 10 pins today. For my bowling ball today, I'm using a marble, and it's a bit bigger than a regular sized marble. Remember, we're trying to replicate 10-pin bowling, and in 10-pin bowling, the bowling ball is quite heavy. It needs to be heavy enough to knock down some pins. So these are the things I'm using today for my game of 10-pin bowling, and remember, I have my worksheet as well. These are the things that you'll need to play. You don't have to have exactly what I have for my pins and my bowling ball, but you're using something to replicate it. I have my pins set up in 2 rows of 5, the same way that they're shown on my worksheet. And I'm going to roll my bowling ball down here to knock over some of my pins and record what happens. Let's take a look what happens when I go bowling. So little mathematicians, I've just moved my camera slightly so you can see what happened when I went bowling. I had 10 pins and I've knocked some down. Let's have a look. How many are knocked down? 1, 2, 3, 4. How many are left standing up? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I went bowling and I knocked 4 pins over. There are 6 pins left. I can also show this by crossing some out to show what happened. I knocked 4 pins over, there are 6 pins left. What this tells me in my maths work is if I have 10 and I take away 4, I'm going to have 6 left. It's over to you to go bowling.